B'Shem Yahushua Mashiach. I thought I was gone, but I also was instructed or heard read Jeremiah 23. And so if you will bear with me for a minute, a reading of the word of Elohim. And I put on the hat to kind of differentiate between the messages. Barak Yahuah, for the head covering. The cover of the head, and also I've learned the whole head cover, they said this under his head, that's like wearing a hoodie and the whole head is cut off, like decapitation. They don't just take off the top, so to have a hat on or a beanie or whatever, it's the head covering I've learned. Many have taught error, so you take off your hat and everything, but back then, it was when they were mourning and they would have their head veiled. And so they would have on a hoodie, and with the honor of the Most High, so a man shouldn't have his head fully veiled or covered because he's the image of Elohim. But a woman has authority over her head, so the covering is because of the angels, the fallen watchers that are still lusting after the women. Nothing new under the sun, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man comes. Let me turn on this light right quick. Barak Yahuah. It's a beautiful little scenery. Down Arlington, Texas. Yirmeyahu. Okay. Now, said let there be light. Somehow it automatically turned off. But we're going to read Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter. It says, woe unto you pastors. Yours might say shepherds. Woe unto you pastors who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. This is Yahuwah's declaration. Therefore, this is what Yahuah, the Elohim of Yashar'el, says, or the God of Israel, says about the pastors and shepherds who shepherds my people. You have scattered my flock, banished them, and have not attended to them. I will attend to you because of your evil acts. Yahuwah's declaration. But it says the Lord's declaration. I will gather the remnant of my flock from all the lands where I have driven them, and I will return them to their grazing land. They will become fruitful and numerous. I will raise up shepherds or pastors over them who will shepherd them. They will no longer be afraid or dismayed, nor will any be missing. This is Yahuwah's declaration. Woe unto you pastors, he said. You're feeding yourselves and not my flock. Money cometh now. Peter says they're fleecing the flock. Through feigned words, they'll make merchandise of you. Got a seek in his hand instead of his face, saying you're cursed if you don't bring me all the tithes. They'll preach that inadvertently. Too much like pimping. What about thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, pastor? Honor your mother and father. These are permanent. He said, if you stood in my counsel, just to give an overview at Jeremiah, he said, and had my people turn from their sins. But by their lightness or their utter disdain for the law, they said the law is done away with, and have my people destroyed for lack of knowledge. So this is why he's saying, woe unto you pastors. And so this is just an overview. Now let's continue. And he says in verse 5, the days are coming, this is Yahuwah's declaration, when I will raise up a righteous branch of David. He will reign wisely as a king and administer justice and righteousness in the land. At his day, Judah, this is talking about the Messiah, will be saved, Yehudah, and all Yashar'el will dwell securely. They're not dwelling securely or safely today. People are surrounding the borders. So this is a future prophecy. And they're fighting for land. And so Judah will dwell safely and Israel will dwell securely. This is where you will be the name. Yahuwah is our righteousness. Yahuwah Sikadu. The days are coming, Yahuwah's declaration, when it will no longer be said, as Yahuwah lives, who brought up the Israelites from the land of Egypt, but as Yahuwah lives, who brought and led the descendants of the house of Yashar'el from the land of the north. Hello. And from all the other countries where I have banished or driven them, they will dwell once more in their own land. So one race of people don't make 12 tribes. And out of Egypt I called my son. And we see the Grand Canyon has Egyptian artifacts that's been suppressed by the Smithsonian. Tamari, the beautiful land. Barak Yahuwah. And so, concerning the prophets, my heart is broken. But concerning these pastors, he said, my heart is broken within me, and all my bones tremble or shake. I become like a drunkard, like a man overcome by wine, because of Yahuwah, because of his holy words. For the land is full of adulterers, and the land mourns because of the curse. And the grazing land and the wilderness have dried up. Their way of life has become evil, and their power is not rightly used, because both the prophet and the priest are ungodly. Even in my house I have found their evil. Therefore their way will be to them like slippery paths in the gloom. They will be driven away and fall down there, for I will bring disaster on them, the year of their visitation, their punishment. Among the prophets of Samaria I saw something disgusting. They prophesied by Baal, by the Lord. You know, Beelzebub means Lord of the Flies, so Baal means Lord. And led my people astray, Israel or Yashar'el astray. Among the prophets of Jerusalem also I saw a horrible thing. They committed adultery and walked in lies. They strengthened the hands of evildoers. It's okay, we don't judge here. And none turns back from evil or the transgression. They all are like Sodom to me. You can't make this up. Jerusalem's residents are like Gomorrah, the rainbow flag today. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah Zabaoth says concerning the prophets. I am about to feed them wormwood and give them poison water to drink. For from the prophets of Jerusalem, ungodliness has spread throughout the land. This is what Yahuwah Zabaoth says. Do not listen to the words of the prophets who prophesied to you. They are making you worthless, vain. They speak visions from their own mind, not from Yahuwah's mouth. They keep on saying to those who despise me, Yahuwah has said, the Lord has said. You know, the Lord said to me, you will have peace. To everyone who walks in the stubbornness of his heart, they have said. Yeah, it's okay to keep Christmas. It's okay to do Easter and Halloween. That was a long time ago. The Most High said, I change not, neither is Satan. Paul said they worship the demons, not God, not Elohim. And so they commend them. It's okay, you can be married again. This man here has a job and he has his own business. This woman has her own business. She got 2 kids, you got 3. Y'all make a beautiful couple just so you can get the money. Both from own businesses and this and that. Instead of telling them this person's wife is still alive, if you marry him, you're committing adultery. And so they justify the wickedness and heap sin upon sin. So he said, they keep on saying to those who despise me, Yahuwah or the Lord has said, you will have peace. To everyone who walks in the stubbornness of his heart, they have said, no harm will come to you. You know, trust me, I'm a preacher. I got an order in the nation. I'm bishop this, I'm deacon Arah. For who has stood in the counsel of the Lord, of Yahuwah, to see and hear his words, he asking. Who has paid attention to his word and obeyed? A question mark. Who has paid attention to my word and obeyed? But they say the law is done away with. They made void his commandments by their traditions of Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, commandments of men. Keep these, take out for work. I lose money because of pagan holidays now. The script is flipped. Days I used to celebrate, I don't celebrate no more. But no one's open for to make a profit or to work because they worship the demons and not Elohim, not God. And it's sad. And they will fight you behind it. And so, he said, for who has stood in the counsel of the Lord to see and hear his word? Who has paid attention to his word and obeyed? Look, a storm from the Lord, from Yahuah, wrath has gone forth. A whirlwind, a whirling storm. It will whirl about the head of the wicked. Yahuah's anger will not turn back until he has completed or completely fulfilled the purpose of his heart. And the time to come, you will consider it clearly. These be the days, I believe. Verse 21 of Jeremiah 23. I did not send these prophets, these pastors, but yet they ran with a message. I did not speak to them, yet they prophesied. If they had really stood in my counsel, says the Most High, they would have enabled my people to hear my words. They would have turned them back from their evil ways and their evil works, deeds, their sins. But they say the law is done away with. If they had stood in my counsel, they would have enabled my people to hear my words clearly. And they would have turned them back from their evil ways, their willful sinning, and their evil deeds, the works of their hands. Am I God, Elohim, who is only near? This is Yahuah's declaration. Am I not a God, Elohim, who is far away also? Can a man hide himself in secret places where I cannot see him? Question mark. Do I not feel the heavens and the earth? Question mark. I have heard what the prophets who prophesy a lie in my name have said. I had a dream. I had a dream. How long will this continue to be in the minds of the prophets, prophesying lies, prophets of deceit of their own minds, though through their dreams that they tell one another? They make plans to cause my people to forget my name, as their forefathers forgot my name through Baal, the Lord, or by Baal, the Lord. It's an honorific title, Lord, like the house of Lord, Lord Rothschilds, Lord Rockefeller. Lord and God are honorific titles, they're not names. Praise his name, Yah. Psalm 68 says, Yahuah, he is Elohim. It's not Benjamin and Lord or Benjamin and God. It's not Benjamin and Hashem or Benjamin and Adonai, but Benjamin and Yahu. Yahuah, he is Elohim, by their likeness. So they have my people forget my name through Baal and Baal worship. That's what Baal worship, that steeple on top of the church. It's an Asher pole. He said, don't make one next to my altar to bow down to worship me. It's a sun god pillar. Baal worship. The prophet who has only a dream should recount the dream. But the one who has my words should speak my words faithfully, trustworthy, truthfully. For what is straw compared to grain? Yahuah's declaration, is not my word like fire, and like a sledgehammer that pulverizes a rock? Therefore take note, I'm against the prophets who steal my words from each other. Man, I heard that teaching, he said, I'm gonna use that, pastor. Who steal my words from each other. I'm against the prophets, Yahuah's declaration, who use their own tongues to deliver an oracle, the Lord said. I'm against those who prophesy false dreams, telling them and leading my people astray with their falsehoods and their boastings. It was not I who sent or commanded them, and they are of no benefit at all to these people. Verse 33. Now when these people or a prophet or a priest ask you, what is the burden of the Lord? 1 John 5th chapter verse 2, it says, this is the love of God, of Elohim, that we keep his commandments. The commandments are not irksome or grievous or burdensome, but they call it a burden. A burden. It's a burden, you heathens, not to steal, not to colonize, not to take land that ain't yours, to remove the ancient landmark, and to commit adultery and to eat swine flesh. Yes, it's a burden for you. Hell is colorblind, so should love be. It's a burden for you not to promote racism and bigotry, unseemly, unmoral. What is the burden of the Lord, they say? You will respond to them, what is the burden? I will throw you away. This is Yahuwah's declaration. As for the prophet, priest, or the people who say the burden of Yahuwah, I will punish that man and his household. Oh, it's a burden. The law is done away with. It's a burden. I will punish that household. But Satan will give you his kingdom, so they appear rich in this world, in this time. They have all things, it's like they suffer no hurt. But judgment's coming. The poor will inherit the earth. So be comforted with this. With food and clothing, we should be content, our brother Paul says. This is what each man says to his friend and to his neighbor. What has Yahuwah answered? Or what has the Lord spoken? But no longer refer to the burden of the Lord. For each man's word becomes his burden, and you pervert the words of the living God. Yahuwah Elohai, you must say to the prophet, who has Yahuwah answered you? Or what? You must say to the prophet, what has the Lord answered you? And what has the Lord spoken? But if you say the burden of the Lord, this is what Yahuwah says. Because you have said the burden of the Lord, and I specifically told you not to say the burden of the Lord, I will surely forget you and throw away from my presence both you and the city that I gave you and your fathers. This is what we did. And I will bring on you an everlasting shame and humiliation that will never be forgotten. A hissing and a byword. It started Afro, Negro, colored to black, and now it's African American. Black, Italian go back to Italy, a Frenchman go to France, a Mexican to Mexico, a Russian to Russia. There's no country on the face of the earth named Black American. I'm black and I'm proud, and our ignorance will destroy. We're children of the Most High Yah. We're Hebrews, Ivory, Negroes, they called it, and Negro land was a 1700 map over in the west coast of Africa after we fled from Jerusalem so many captivities from our disobedience. That's where we ended up, and they brought us on ships, the rest of us over here. Some had already came, according to the book of Ezra. They called it Azar'Yahu, I believe. And according to the Jewish encyclopedia, where the 12 tribes went to go to keep the commandments that they hadn't kept in the land of the promised land. Even the Cherokees wrote in block Hebrew. And before the 1750, they had beards over here. Beards. Now we can see the devil in the details with replacement theology. American Indian with the copper color races are found here by the Europeans, who now call them and their descendants Americans. So American, the copper color races. Look at me, copper color. My grandfather was Cherokee, a minister. All praise to the Most High. So that means I'm a true American, a Yehudi, a Hebrew, from the Promised Land by way of the northeast horn of Africa. They call the Levant in the Middle East Spinneroos. All praise to the Most High. He is the righteous judge of all his creation, making his ways straight. Woe unto you, pastors, he said. You're feeding yourselves and not his flocks. Barak Yahuwah.